If you stopped saving during the first 10 years of your working life, how much money do you think you'd lose? Not a few thousand, not a few tens of thousands, but potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars simply because time would no longer be on your side. In your 30s, most people don't feel like they're doing anything wrong. You've just stabilized your career, your income is starting to improve, life still feels full of possibilities. Retirement sounds far away, so far away that it gets pushed into a very familiar corner of the mind.
Later.
Later. The problem is this: your 30s are the only stage where later doesn't hurt right away, but quietly creates a very expensive price in the future. You don't need to be rich in your 30s. You don't need to be financially perfect. But if you miss this stage, you're missing the single greatest advantage money can give you: time. In this video, we're not talking about retiring early. We're not talking about unrealistic plans. We're talking about how to build a strong financial foundation in your 30s so your future feels lighter, not heavier. Before we continue, leave a comment and let me know. How old are you? And at what age
What
do
is your
you want to
current
retire?
age? And
Now let's
what is
start
your
with the
planned
most
retirement
important
age?
question. Why your 30s are the easiest decade to get wrong, but also the easiest decade to fix in your entire retirement journey. Your 30s, the easiest decade to get wrong and the cheapest decade to fix your 30s, are a very unique stage in your financial journey. Not because this is when you earn the most money, but because every small decision carries massive time leverage. According to US financial guidelines, someone who is on track should have about 1 times their annual income saved for retirement by the end of their 30s. A simple example: if you earn $60,000 a year, your target by the end of your 30s is roughly $60,000 set aside for retirement. This number isn't meant to impress anyone. It's meant to answer a far more important question: how many years does this money still have to grow? In your 30s, the answer is usually 30 to 35 years. And this is where the difference becomes dramatic. If you invest $10,000 at age 30 with an average return of 7% per year, after 35 years, that money can grow to over $100,000. But if you delay for 10 years and invest that same $10,000 at age 40 with the same return, after 25 years it grows to only about $54,000. Same amount of money, same rate of return. The only difference is when you started. That's why your 30s are the easiest decade to get wrong, because if you're not saving yet, life still feels fine. Bills still get paid. There's no immediate penalty, but for the exact same reason, your 30s are also the cheapest decade to fix mistakes. If you realize you're behind, you can start just a little earlier. Increase savings by a few percentage points. Let time do the heavy lifting for you at age 50. Making up for a 10-year delay often requires saving 2 to 3 times more every month. But in your 30s, you only need to start, you don't need to be perfect. Put simply, your 30s aren't about winning big. They're about buying time at the lowest possible cost. And once you've bought time, financial decisions in your 40s and 50s become far easier to handle. That's the real value of starting right in your 30s. The 15-20% rule isn't a number. It's a system that protects your future. When people in their 30s hear the rule save 15-20% of your income for retirement, the most common reaction is hesitation. It sounds right, but the familiar thought immediately appears: I'll deal with that later. There's too much going on right now. Here's the key point. The 15-20% rule was never designed to make your current life harder. It was designed to protect you from having to make much heavier sacrifices later. Let's look at a very practical example. If you earn $50,000 a year, 15% equals $7,500 annually, or about $625 per month. That sounds like a lot, but flip the question around. If you don't set aside $625 a month in your 30s, how much will you need to set aside at 45 or 50 to catch up? The answer is often twice as much or even more. Not because you wasted money, but because time is no longer on your side. The major advantage of your 30s is flexibility. Your living costs are still relatively adjustable, and you still have the energy to make gradual changes. You're not yet dealing with rising healthcare costs, greater family responsibilities, or situations where every extra dollar saved requires significantly more effort, right when time and energy are no longer abundant. Put simply and a bit humorously, saving in your 30s is like climbing a hill while you still have stamina, not waiting until you're out of breath to start climbing. The most important part of the 15-20% rule is not hitting the number immediately. It's building a system that increases over time. A very realistic approach. Start by saving 8 to 10%, increase savings by 1 to 2% each year. Every raise goes to savings before spending increases. Using this method, many people reach 15% without ever feeling a sense of loss. The money never becomes spending money. It's redirected before you can miss it. No monthly willpower, no constant internal debate, just not seeing the money anymore. And this is the real meaning of the 15-20% rule. It's not about bragging rights. It's a guardrail that prevents you from accidentally spending your future. In your 30s, you don't need to save an extreme amount. You just need to save early and correctly. Because once the system is in place, financial decisions in your 40s and 50s become far less stressful. And once you have a stable saving system, the next question is no longer, should I save? But how should this money be invested to make the most of the time I still have? That's when we need to talk about why stock-heavy portfolios still make sense in your 30s. Why your portfolio in your 30s should still prioritize stocks. When people first start investing in their 30s, one of the most common questions is, isn't investing heavily in stocks too risky? That's a reasonable question, but it only makes sense if you're thinking short-term. In your 30s, your biggest advantage isn't knowledge, it's time. According to common financial guidance, a portfolio in your 30s can reasonably be allocated 90 to 100% to stocks. That may sound aggressive, but in reality, this is the safest stage of life to tolerate volatility. The reason is simple. You still have 30 to 35 years before retirement. Let's look at a very concrete example. Suppose you invest $500 per month starting at age 30, with an average annual return of 7%. After 35 years, you would have contributed about $210,000, but your portfolio could grow to roughly $600,000, $700,000. That difference doesn't come from being a great investor. It comes from giving your money enough time to grow. Now compare that to a more conservative approach. If you avoid stocks out of fear and invest only in very safe assets earning around 3% per year, after the same 35 years, your portfolio would be worth only $330,000, $350,000. Same monthly contribution. The only difference is growth rate. That's why in your 30s, the biggest risk isn't market ups and downs, it's not growing fast enough. Another common misunderstanding is that investing heavily in stocks means gambling. That's not what this strategy is about. In your 30s, stock investing does not mean constant buying and selling, chasing hot stocks, trying to time the market. It simply means long-term investing, consistent contributions, staying calm when markets drop. Market downturns, when viewed over a 30 to 35-year timeline, are usually just small waves. And here's the key insight. Market declines in your 30s aren't the enemy. They're opportunities to buy assets at lower prices. As long as you still have income, continue saving consistently. Don't pull money out during downturns. A small joke to remember this by. In your 30s, market drops are like sales, not fun to see your account in red, but great for long-term buyers. In short, in your 30s, you don't need a defensive portfolio. You need a portfolio that can grow strongly, so that by your 40s, you can gradually shift towards stability from a position of strength. And to fully take advantage of this strategy, we need to talk about something many people overlook: how your saving structure, not special benefits, can help you accelerate progress without working harder. If there's no free money, you have to build your own discipline. Not everyone in their 30s has access to a 401k. Not everyone gets employer-sponsored retirement benefits. And here's an important truth that needs to be said clearly. If there's no free money from the system, you must create a replacement system yourself. The good news? You absolutely can, if you understand the core principle. In your 30s, the biggest issue isn't a lack of tools, it's a lack of structure. Many people save like this. Save if there's money left this month. Skip saving when things get busy. Look back at the end of the year, and there's not much there. The problem isn't income, it's that saving has no fixed place in the cash flow. The solution is simple but extremely effective. Pay your future before you pay your present. Practically speaking, as soon as income comes in, salary, freelance, or business income, immediately separate 15 to 20% into a non-spending account. No complex investing required. No fancy products needed. Just separate the money first. Treat it as if it doesn't exist for spending a small joke. But very true. If the money isn't in sight, it's usually not spent either. In your 30s, you also have a major advantage. Your income tends to increase over time. That allows for a very practical strategy. Keep your lifestyle relatively stable. Let savings grow faster than spending. For example, this year you save 10%, next year income rises, increase savings to 12%. The following year, 15% you don't feel like you're sacrificing because your lifestyle doesn't shrink. Spending just grows more slowly than income. This is how many people build a strong financial foundation without any special benefits at all. More importantly, when you build this discipline in your 30s, you do something extremely valuable. You stop depending on a system, you become the system. And that system stays with you. When you change jobs, when you go freelance, when income fluctuates over different stages of life. In short, not having a 401k or IRA does not put you at a disadvantage. As long as you separate money first, automate as much as possible, increase savings as income grows in your 30s, this isn't just a backup solution. It's a powerful foundation for everything that comes next. And once that foundation is in place, the next thing we need to talk about is the familiar traps in your 30s that can quietly destroy any system if you don't recognize them in time. The 3 traps in your 30s that can quietly destroy any foundation. In your 30s, very few people make major financial mistakes. The real danger lies somewhere else in small habits, repeated over time, that you barely notice. These are the 3 most common traps. Trap number 1. Income goes up, but the future stays still. When you first start working, life is fairly simple. A few years later, income increases and life gets a little better. A bigger place, a better car, higher living standards rising step by step. Here's the problem. If 100% of every raise goes toward upgrading your lifestyle, then financially, you're actually standing still. For example, income rises from $40,000 to $55,000 per year. Spending rises almost proportionally. Savings rate stays the same. From the outside, it looks like progress, but your retirement fund doesn't move. This is why so many people in their 40s still feel unprepared, even after working for more than 15 years. Trap number 2. I'm still young, I'll do it later. This is the most dangerous trap because it doesn't hurt right away. In your 30s, if you delay saving for a few years, no one penalizes you. Life still feels fine. Everything keeps running normally, but the real cost only appears when you no longer have time to fix it. Every year you delay in your 30s can force you to save twice as much or more in your 50s to reach the same result. Not because you did something wrong, but because time has already passed. Trap task 3. Saving with emotions, not with a system. Many people save when there's money left over that month. Expenses are low, motivation is high, and skip saving when work is stressful. Unexpected costs show up, life gets busy. This isn't a discipline problem, it's a lack of structure problem. Saving based on emotions will always lose to saving based on a system. In your 30s, a simple but stable system is more important than any complex investment strategy. Your 30s don't ruin your future through big mistakes. They ruin it through small habits that go unchecked. The good news? All of these traps are completely avoidable if you recognize them early enough. If you simply give saving a fixed place in your cash flow, let your lifestyle grow slower than your income. Stop waiting for the perfect time to start. Then you've already done the most important thing in your 30s. You've built a foundation without quietly destroying it. And when that foundation is solid, decisions in your 40s and 50s become far easier to breathe through. Before you leave this video, pause for a moment and ask yourself one simple question. If everything continues exactly as it is today, will you be happy with your financial outcome 10 years from now? Not how hard you worked, not how busy you were, but the final result. Your 30s aren't the time to do something dramatic, but they are the time to be honest with yourself. You don't need to know everything about finance. You don't need to be great at investing. You only need to answer one thing. Am I building a foundation or just getting through this phase? If at this point you realize you don't have a system, you don't have structure, or you've been saying later for too long, then this is the best time to reset. Not tomorrow, not next year, but right now. Before you go, leave a comment and let me know. How old are you and at what age do you want to retire? Not to compare yourself to
Let me
anyone
know what you
else,
think in the
but to set a
comments
clear
and
marker for yourself.
subscribe so you don't miss
And
the
if
next
content like
video.
this helps you see money more clearly, subscribe to the channel. The next videos will continue helping you make decisions that are less emotional and better for your future. Your 30s don't give you instant results, but they quietly decide everything that comes later.